Whether you're human, Vesson, or a Kersite Schlishkinen, we know one thing is true. Grimm is back for Season 6, and we're talking about the premiere, Episode 1, The Fugitive.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Ooh, listen to that music!
So good!
Welcome back to AfterBuzz TV, guys, for the Grimm After Show. 601.
Yay!
The final season of Grimm has started.
Bittersweet.
Yeah. Well, I'm your host, Zach Wilson, by the way. I suppose we should start the show, not just be excited, although that's going to be most of what the next 45 minutes is. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ZachWilson. And I have the whole panel back! Yael Tygiel.
Hi, everybody. I'm Yael Tygiel. I'm everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. And I am in the chat with all of you who have been talking for 3 hours.
We love you guys.
We love you guys so much.
Yael, the Queen Mize nerd herself.
Yes.
And we have maybe Tauri?
Dylan?
Maybe Dylan?
Who knows?
Don't know.
Maybe you could take a chance on me.
Nice.
Yes.
Get
Dylan
out.
Chip.
But Tari's back.
Yay.
Yes. Today I am Tauri J. Miller. You can find me at Tauri J. It's TAURIJAY.
I did it for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It feels good to be back.
It's back. It's back. I'm so excited.
I feel like this is the most, I just want to say this before we get started. I feel like over the break, Grimm's fan base has been the most active of any off-season fan base that I've ever had on an after show.
Absolutely.
Like usually things get quiet, you almost forget that like the show's not on because there's other TV shows and there's so much TV to watch like it's almost hard. But like Grimm, you can never forget.
Oh yeah, they won't let you.
No.
You go one day, you go, what is a show I used to cover at AfterBuzz? guys, Nataline, guys, Grimm. We got it.
Oh man, the Natalanders are very happy.
Yes.
This week.
Oh yes.
Did something happen?
Girl,
I don't
were you
know.
watching this show?
I don't know. We'll save like the Nataline stuff. Maybe we'll get like 2 minutes of it in at the end if we have time.
Girl,
Shove it in the
All
back.
right, let's start talking about this episode.
this was hands down the best season premiere I can remember.
It was great, and it kicked off in a way that I almost forgot because it's been a while since we hosted this show.
Yeah.
With the quote, "Maybe this world is another planet's hell."
We're going to take it to the chat to research this quote and give us the
it's
facts.
from
it.
Aldous Huxley is the guy who wrote it. His name is Aldous Huxley.
I see.
Great. I'm going to take it to the chat to tell us what it's about and where it's from. Because that's not helpful information at all.
It's from Brave New World.
Thanks.
Ah.
I read that book.
Did you?
Well, I was
pretty
supposed to
sure.
read that book.
I thought you couldn't read.
I can't read. I was supposed to read that book in high school. Is that who wrote that? Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway.
Regardless.
No, but like, there's a lot of, it's interesting as we talk about a world full of creatures and everything. So like maybe the world of Grimm is somebody's hell.
Yeah. When Monroe says to Rosalie, like, we shouldn't raise a child in Portland, I went, yeah, we've been saying for 6 seasons that Portland is a terrible place where people keep getting murdered.
Murders per capita.
Vicious.
Especially violent murders per capita.
Yeah.
In
Right.
Portland.
But-
off the charts.
That raises...
Off the charts.
But it allows you to raise kids who, have a lot of character. I mean, if they grow up to be adults, they have a lot of great stories.
If they grow up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if. It's a big if. Children are not spared in Grimm.
No, not at all.
Okay. Yeah, they might. You never know when they hit puberty. They might turn into little troll demons.
I mean, I think you would know if they're going to turn into troll demons because you're
It's
a
true.
troll
They
demon.
did know.
Unless they're Krampus.
Be careful if you
Right, unless
adopt
you're
a
Krampus.
child from Portland. Okay. Let's start let's just start off with Nick and like where we picked up with him at like the first scene, because like, it was just after we know as the audience that Diana like voodoo stabbed Bonaparte using her dad as a proxy murderer, I guess.
Yeah,
interesting place to start a season.
I really appreciated the previously on because it was necessary.
Yeah. Oh, I needed that so bad.
Also, thanks for making us relive Meisner's death. But the scene where we picked up and Renard being like, "You're supposed to be dead," I went, "Oh yeah, he was shot a bunch of times." Then he's walking around in this bullet-full shirt, and I'm like, "What is happening?" He died. Are we just gonna gloss over that? Yes, we are.
Yeah, I liked that we got to start where it was two people who were pretty much flabbergasted by everything that had just taken place, and then they both kind of were like, we're enemies right now, but like, I gotta take a second. It was nice that they were able to kind of like, we had a mutual standoff, and it wasn't just like a needless fight just to be like, it's something exciting for the beginning of the season. It was more like, this is a logical way for these people to react to the situation.
Yeah, especially when he was like, "I thought you were dead," and he went, "I don't know." And he's like, "You killed him. I thought you were on his side." "I don't know." I appreciated that neither of them understood.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was sort of, that was their mutual agreement, like, okay, something weird just happened to everybody in this room. Maybe we should just both walk away and regroup.
Yeah.
But the part that bothers me, so I want to be clear, I freaking loved this episode. Hands down, great episode, loved it. Now I'm going to pick some things apart.
All right.
Renard was working for Black Claw and Bonaparte kind of out of obligation, right? He had two choices and he went, well, I think I'm going to stay alive if I stay with these people. Because he's worried about himself. He's now mayor and Bonaparte's dead. Black Claw in Portland, as we heard, is falling apart. He doesn't need to be evil. And I don't feel like his anger towards Nick...
It does feel like it's gone to it's gone to 9,000.
Right, and right. I don't understand, I don't know why. And Nick, now that HW is gone, I feel like at this point they can have a conversation and figure it out.
Well, I've been thinking about this, and so it's twofold in that Renard has always been a self-preservation character.
Yeah.
And so if he doesn't pin everything on Nick, then everyone's going to be looking at him because of the stuff that happened at the other precinct and all the stuff, and all the dead bodies that have just kind of been popping around. So he has to he has to really push this away from him. And at the same time, Black Claw isn't completely gone, so
right.
If Bonaparte's dead, then they're going to be looking, especially if his hands were the ones that killed him, then they're going to be looking to kind of get retribution. So I think that's a big part of it. Also, but from my perspective as well, I think it's funny that now Renard is doing to Nick what Nick and his crew do to the Vessin that they're hunting each week.
Oh.
That's a very good point.
That is a great point.
Yeah. I guess if you take yourselves out of the situation of knowing these people, this is a mystical person of one form or another who has gone around and killed a bunch of people. So now the police, the official, the mayor of the mayor-elect
/ captain
/ chief, he's not the chief of police, he's the captain.
Yeah.
Are trying to arrest the person who murdered a bunch of...
Shoot to kill.
Right.
Shoot to kill.
Which they
attempting
usually
to shoot
do,
to kill.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. I see it. I see what you're saying. But his anger is weird.
If he's very much on the warpath. I wish we could almost have gotten a scene that where we get to see his him really collecting himself. I don't know if he even has been able to take that moment.
He has not. As we see, he feels so much guilt for killing his best friend Meisney. His hands are covered in his blood. He sees his face. He hears his beautiful voice. He is feeling so much guilt. I'm not making this up. This did happen.
It's just like you're about to break into a song. He sees his face. He sees his blood.
Go on. He hears his voice. Okay.
He hears that voice.
Yeah.
All right. Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Okay, I'm done.
That's what Brie called it.
So-
She called it Meisney.
HW and Black Claw are still, as organizations, completely functional.
Well-
Like I feel like that's important to remember. Like in Portland,
They're not completely functional. I think they're still both living and thriving. I think they're not completely functional because they lost, for some reason, their biggest hubs in Portland.
well, is that true though? Like
ridiculous.
Like the way that Trouble made it sound is that like HW is still going. They're just like they don't have anyone else in Portland.
Right.
Yeah.
And
but
like they just can't get anyone here fast enough. But like they have HW must have like a Seattle branch. It's not that far.
I feel like for some unknown reason, Portland has to be the center. Hellmouth. I'm telling you, it's the Hellmouth. It's a
Yep.
Buffy reference.
If they
For those who don't know.
It's one thing I would love in this final season if we could get a reason why Portland is like so central. Like whether it's a Hellmouth or an equivalent or like something mystic that's like why this tiny city in the Northwest.
Yeah. Grimmaniac in the chat says, might we see Lucian return to Portland?
Ooh.
He might be next in line after Bonaparte. Yeah, he disappeared. And he was handsome, so he can come back. That's all.
Yael needs.
He quit HW to become a model, so...
He was not HW, he was
Or he
Black
quit
Claw.
Black Claw to be a
become a
model.
model? Okay.
Yes.
I mean, look, if we can get more mauvais danse running around.
Yeah.
This is I forgot how much I missed having to like try
Say
to pronounce these ridiculous words.
I feel like we're going to have a lot less of that
It
this
is
year.
it is because it's a short season. We're probably going to have more. You're right.
This beautiful story that we set up.
more serialized storytelling because they've only got so many episodes to do it, and they're gonna close it all out. It's not gonna be the episodic parts of Grimm that we've had like sprinkled in.
And I'm really okay with
Oh, I'm totally on board. More
Yeah.
serialization. Also, Nick's not a cop anymore, so
Yeah.
Yeah, that too.
it would be kind of hard. But yeah, like get out of Portland, Nick. Which I think they all realize is necessary by the time they get to Buds.
Oh, yeah.
Was I the only one, like, they got to Buds? I'm like, the fact that you're spending more than 5 minutes with Bud, like, no, this is going to end poorly. Bud, I love you. I love Bud. Do not, like, when there's, like, lives on the line, Bud is not the one.
He's really great as long as he doesn't know anything.
Yes.
Right. I mean, though I disagree because they were using Buds, especially when they were hiding Adalind. I ruin her name every time. He was really good at like keeping her safe and being like a hub for them to just kind of hide out. So like Bud's reliable in the clutch. I mean, he might get your goat, but like
I just feel like Bud is bad luck.
I feel like Bud just doesn't know how to keep his mouth shut.
That is very true.
Which, if we're going to blame anyone for anything, Adalind did tell Bonaparte where Nick was staying.
Under duress.
Shall we talk about Nataline, everyone?
I was gonna get through Nick's storyline first, but all right, let's talk about Nataline now.
So it's like the episode went, hey fans, do you love Nataline? Let's have them kiss. Where's my child? We must go up the stairs.
Even if it's Nick going like literally just like into the lion's den in the worst way.
Yeah, but when he got the call saying that they were looking for him, they were gonna go to they had warrants for everybody's houses, I went, he's in the safest place. No one is gonna look for him there. He should have stayed, hid in the closet, and murdered Renard in an ambush.
I mean,
it would have
maybe
been great.
It could have been that Renard is like so like amped up he's not thinking straight, but I actually think Renard is generally smart enough to put those pieces together. Be like, oh, maybe he's gonna go try to rescue Adalind and his child.
Yet he didn't think that.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think that Nick would murder Renard. I mean, mostly because they spent a lot of the episode being like, I didn't kill Bonaparte. I didn't kill all these people. I didn't, like, they're really, like, trying to wipe him clean of murder. So I think that he would be like, hey, we should talk. And then they'll wrestle a little bit, and then the shirts will come off, and then they'll be like, oh, man, this is how brothers make up. Am I right?
I want to see this show.
I'm sure that's how it's written, right? Come on, writers. That's how it's written.
But no, the Nataline stuff was great. I'm glad that we have established, I think, that is the couple and that is what's happening, and that all of the concerns about Eve can be thrown out, because I think...
I disagree.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's what we were establishing in this episode, is that we need to calm the F down, because they're in love and a couple and will end up happily ever after.
Or are they luring everyone into a false sense of security?
No. I think also he got the explanation about the ring, which I appreciated, because last season there was a lot of concern when the ring was put on if it was a threat or a curse. And luckily I got that confirmed, and then they did it in the show.
Yeah. So it seems like it is cursed. It's just a question of how effective is it now that Bonaparte's dead? Probably still just as.
Yeah.
So with Bonaparte dead, how do you deal with it?
Right.
Or Nick just needs to double down, and it can just be her engagement ring that she never takes off.
Yeah. I honestly don't see a problem. Just keep the big rock on your finger.
I will say, to nitpick some stuff from this episode, and it's just this is more like what I want to see going forward.
Sure.
What I didn't get here.
We're gonna nitpick. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I got some stuff.
I wanted more. Adalind is feeling a little bit damsel in distress right now.
Yeah. Into my notes.
And I'm not. And I haven't seen your notes, so
yeah,
we're
says it real big.
We're on the same page. She's one of the most powerful characters on this show. One of the strongest women on this show, in a show full of strong women.
Yeah.
That she has never needed another person. That's been her whole thing. And she only really leaned on Nick and everyone else when she really had no other options.
Yeah.
And everybody falls into that, whether you're a man or a woman or whatever. You will find yourself in situations where you have to rely on others to help you. But this is what happened to the powerful Adalind, who was just getting her powers back and was yes, protecting her children, but with a ferocity.
Right. When Diana was taken from her, she screamed and shattered all of those car windows in the street. And this episode, she can't leave the tower because there's an evil dragon. You know what I mean? She's stuck in the house.
An evil prince who kidnapped her.
Right.
Literally.
Yes. Well, Bonaparte wasn't royal.
No, Renard.
Yeah, but Bonaparte kidnapped her.
Bernard was complicit.
He also murdered Meisnes.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that she's gearing up. Right now, she's kind of she has an assortment of different information, and she was just kind of getting up to speed. So this episode, I'm willing to kind of give a pass, where she couldn't leave because both of her kids were there, and she doesn't know what to do with Diana, because Diana is technically also Renard's probably.
And evil.
Yes, super evil.
I love that it's still probably.
Well, it's like the show went, we're confirming this, but we're not going to say it or do any blood tests. Yep.
There's just enough of a question, and the fact of the matter is one of the other people in question is also a royal.
Yeah.
So even her being affected by royal blood wouldn't confirm it. We literally need a DNA swab.
Right.
Yeah.
The show's gonna end season 6, episode 13. Diana's not Renard's.
And then Alexis Denisov shows up as a ghost.
Wait, it's not Alexis Denisov. It's James Frayne.
Oh.
It's not Victor. It's Eric.
Yes.
All right. I'm sorry. There's a lot of royals
that she slept with.
Womp womp.
That's true.
Well, I think that's great. I support that. That's all.
No judgment.
Yay!
Just like we have a question at hand. Anyway,
That's the biggest mystery of the whole
so yeah,
show.
so I want to see more of Adalind being powerful, and it's the only reason that like this episode might have like stinted my Nataline affection, because like I want her to be stronger as a character, and before I'm going to ship her in any way.
Yeah, and I mean,
I will become anti-ship if it hurts a character's development.
I think also it's important to remember that even when she was human, she was a strong woman.
Yes.
She was a powerful, like, she was a great lawyer, and she was a powerful woman. And I think that what we want is to see that.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
And I don't think that's going to go away, or that we're
Right.
not going to get it. It's just we didn't get it here.
Yes.
Right.
Nitpicky.
And that's that.
Yeah.
Any other Nataline thoughts? Does the chat have any Nataline thoughts? I'm very curious.
Well, so first off, they hate you for suggesting that it may not work out. And a lot of people are suggesting that there can't be any triangles. So Frank says, no love triangles, Eve is in his past. Kendall suggests that Renard ends up with Eve,
yes,
problem solved.
Eve is in the past. But
Stop.
what about Juliet?
Juliet is in the past.
We'll get to that.
Yes, Jorge says no triangles. So, agreed, everyone. I don't think the triangle is where we're headed. We've
I also
done
don't
that.
need the love story to be like the central part of this season necessarily. Like, there's way bigger mythology stuff to handle in only a dozen episodes more.
Yeah.
And they're gonna need all that time to answer all of the questions that I'd have about Vesson origins, and we need some
Oh, I like
history
that you
stuff in
think
there.
we're going to get Vesson origins. Damn it. Those answers.
Oh, I'm sure they are. No, like that. You know, once we get to the symbols, that's all it is.
Those symbols.
Yeah.
Hey, if we're starting, okay, let's get to the afterlife stuff. Or does the chat have any more?
No,
questions?
they're just
Mad at me?
No, they're just Natalining.
You get look. If you guys are upset with anything I have to say about Nataline or anything else, I guess, but I expect it's going to be mostly about Nataline.
Yep.
At that Zach Wilson, send all of your hate
Great.
right there.
Or in the iTunes reviews.
Yes, iTunes reviews are also a great way to send both love and hate.
We have 3.
Ooh.
At
3
least
new
3.
reviews, which was off the air, or when we were off the air. So thank you guys so much for continuing to continue to support us on iTunes, because it's a great way to help make sure that other Grimm fans, other Nataline fans are finding this podcast. So if you like what you're seeing, what you're listening to, go ahead, rate us on iTunes and help other people find it, or just share it yourself via social media or whatever means. Shout it from the rooftops of Portland. Just or
Don't get
wherever.
hurt
Yeah.
by all the Vesson.
Yeah.
All right, so Caleb says, I'm going to do this as fast as I can. 5 stars, great host, by far the most knowledgeable group to be hosting this Grimm After Show. Fun to listen to and engaging in discussions. Thank you. Witty J, 5 stars. How did I not know about this? Girl, I don't know. Love the show, love the podcast. Hope I'm not catching this in time for what is rumored to be the last season. Wah, wah.
Yeah.
Congrats.
follow
And
us. We're on
Danny
other
Girl, 5 stars. Meisner! Yes. I've left reviews, so I'm going to try to leave another one
I
because
think that was more
request-
like Meisner.
It's Meisnerd.
Oh.
Yeah. Please get a writer from the show for questions. I have so many questions to be
Well, we
that
had,
could be answered. We had
Jeff Miller.
Yeah.
Which you can go back and listen to that episode or
But
watch it.
also, we will try to get people,
Yes.
including writers. I want to know why Monroe doesn't have a last name. Excellent question. How come you found an actress that looks so much like Nick and didn't use a brother, long lost sister storyline? Oh, I think they mean Trouble. Who is Trouble's family? Great. These are all great questions. How did the Royals get power since they look human? We never got answers on Royals.
I think the
I hope you
answer
get
was
this.
they just do move on.
All great. Thank you so much for the reviews. I want to take a moment to remind the fans that what they should be doing, because it is our last season, is tweeting directly at the stars saying, why haven't you been on the AfterBuzz After Show? Tag AfterBuzz TV, tag all of us. Start harassing the stars. I'll work it from my end, you work it from yours.
All
I've
right.
heard that before. Yes.
Oh!
Not sexual.
That was good.
Also, what was not sexual was the death grip.
Oh, the death grip. I thought we were going to talk about Rachel Wood's body.
No, we'll get to that towards the end.
Okay.
That's the beginning of a storyline that we're not really in yet.
So, the death grip.
I thought this was like, all right. It was a little strange as it happened, but what it's setting up is huge in its implications and fascinating for mythology nerds. So like me, if you're hoping this season is going to go through and like help like answer a lot of the questions we've had about how this world works, this I think was a big step in that direction. Towards the answers to the questions of why. We basically just confirmed there's an afterlife in Grimm.
Okay.
Yes.
And like an underworld.
Sure.
Because like what else would that be?
Right. Yeah.
So with that knowledge, like it takes this into a different like beyond scientific place. Like with all of Grimm No.
I'm right there with you.
Go on.
Tell us more about how the mythical animal people aren't scientific.
Because you guys have heard my theories on like how Vesson like started to be a thing.
Yeah, we've heard your theories. Go on.
I know, but this adds another level to it that sort of disproves some of my theories that were like more based in like like animal, like, I don't know, souls got bonded together, something like that with humans.
Science.
Look, it's science in the sense that, like, with an origin, like, how it all happened. And that could still be it. But, like, it implies, like, there could be gods beyond just Vesson. And, like, now my question is, are we going to meet those people? Like
Creationism.
we saw a portal. We saw a portal into the underworld. If the underworld exists, does that also mean like Hades exists? Like, could we meet Hades by the end of the season? Like, those are the questions that like now are running through my brain.
Yeah, and they hinted a little bit at the existence of other realms and other like godly figures in last season when we had the person who was doing the sacrifices for rain. And so this kind of goes on top of that. I mean, the bigger question that it presents, and it's not really a bigger question, but like the other question is how that ties in to Eve and her newfound semi-pure soul.
Yeah, so what our theories last season, if I remember correctly, were mostly like, oh, this healed her of the Hexen Beast, and like so it like reopened like all those like passageways to Juliet that had been closed off.
Yeah.
Was like we assumed the implication was from her being healed via the magic stick.
Right.
What were we calling her magic stick?
I was calling it Yggdrasil. Yep, that's it.
Yes.
You had something else.
So funny.
You had the like.
Oh yeah, the words that I couldn't pronounce.
You made it Yiddish.
I made it. It was Greek, and I pronounced it with a Yiddish like pronunciation.
Yes.
It was the schlepper or something.
Yeah.
Schleppiest.
Sounds right.
Anyway.
But
yes, the stick of destiny.
Yeah.
The stick of destiny. So what we now see is that what is implied is that it completely cleaned her soul and her purity,
Well,
and like
they said that it may have cleaned it a little. They didn't say that her soul was now pure, especially because they were like, "That's not the body you take."
Well, if this follows, like, let's use just Christian mythology, just like
sure, of course, that's what we should always use. Go on.
Well, it was put there by the Crusaders. Okay.
Go on.
yes.
Let me.
I'm sorry. Yes.
There are crosses over
Too much
everything.
shit-
Half the
shit
theories on this
giver.
thing are that it's from the cross.
Go on.
That Jesus was crucified on.
Tell me about Christianity, oh wise one.
But like what I'm referring to is like born again Christians. Like the as I understand it, being a Jewish person.
I'll take over. Born-again Christians believe that no matter what you've done in your past, the moment you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, all of that is wiped clean. So it's like you're born again into a new person.
And that
Thanks,
is the only
Tauri.
time where you are pure and sin-free. But like just by existing, you begin like sins just like start coming back. So it could be that like she was good like right after she got healed. Since then, she has killed some more people, I believe, like in defense. Or
No, she hasn't.
She had a seizure.
she helped cover up and hide bodies. Like
It's not her problem.
So maybe she hasn't killed anyone yet. She helped cover up killings.
Grimm fan
so-
group in the chat says,
Not
I don't know what
sin-free.
for, but I agree with Yael. Thank you.
About.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think they agree that it's not a baptism what happened.
Well, I'm using it as an
But
analogy.
They're disagreeing.
Okay,
Yeah.
so well, what's the theory then?
They think if Eve indeed had Hexenbeast spirit, it could be that it seriously affected her by having been healed with the stick. So the Hexenbeast has been cleansed from her.
that was our theory.
Right, but I think
But,
that's
like,
still the theory.
But
because-
Hexenbeast is still there.
But as we saw, she was trying to use it and she couldn't.
Her power is faded. So you think it like basically started a fade?
Yeah.
Like she's being bled of the
Yeah.
Hexenbeast.
Right. Yeah.
So I mean, the implications there are if Eve loses her Hexenbeast side, is it still Eve or is that now just Juliet?
So I would like to set what I believe is the record straight, but who knows?
Okay.
Juliet
Kinda crooked.
is dead, right? Juliet died. Regardless of Hexenbeast Juliet or Hexenbeast Eve, Juliet, the character who loved Nick, who was his partner, who had those memories, died. When Meisner trained her and made her Eve and gave us this, kick-ass assassin, regardless of Hexenbeast, this person is Eve. And without the Hexenbeast powers, still a kick-ass assassin with no powers. Just like kind of Trouble, who's also a Grimm. So now she just can't see anybody. But she's still Eve.
Well, Adalind could see other Vessin when she had lost her Hexenbeast powers,
I don't remember.
right?
Right. Well, because that was
But
still
Nick
part
couldn't.
of her.
I think like if you lose, yeah.
Yeah. But I think that I think that if you think of it as specifically like mono. Once you get mono, it's in your bloodstream forever. And so like you may not have symptoms rise up, or you may. Maybe you're always sick because you have mono and it becomes Epstein-Barr. So she has Epstein-Barr.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
Doctor?
And but essentially she was cured of her Epstein-Barr, and so the bacteria is slowly flushing out of her, which is not typical. You can't flush out mono because it's with you forever, but this is so magical it gets rid of the mono forever. And that's essentially what it is. Or a rabid dog who had rabies, and then you're able to strip it of the rabies instead of it going wild. Something to that is the equivalent.
Eve or Juliet?
I think that she'll always be Juliet, to me.
Interesting.
Eve was it was a persona that she put on, but I think that she's still Juliet, especially now that she's feeling again.
Yeah, that was the big distinction for me, was that she had like mental roadblocks, partially because of the Hexenbeast, partially because of the training that had like made her this emotionless person. But like it wasn't like we put a new soul in her or a new like person's like memories. Like this is still Juliet in some sort of way.
But I think just story-wise, I think that they're trying to at least make it that she's over him. I really don't think a triangle or any of that is where we're headed. Grimmaniac in the chat says Juliet was reborn as Eve. Grimm fan group says yes, Juliet is dead. Jorge says Juliet died.
We know that she died, but like Bitsy Tulloch is still running around.
Right.
And for me, I don't know. I think I'm on a similar page to Tauri, where it's like it's hard for me to separate the two, and from it there's a sense of like that like she is still Juliet in some ways, and I never really bought like a complete separation of the. I never really bought Eve as a unique person to Juliet. Like they're still together in there.
I think Nick has, though, because in this episode when she's trying to take care of the police and she falls and he runs to her, that would have been the moment that he would have said Juliet, and he called her Eve, and he grabbed her and held her.
He called her Eve because he can't possibly say, like, he can't bring himself to believe that that could possibly be Juliet, because otherwise he has abandoned his trying to help her.
Ivan Soto in the chat says it's Elizabeth Tulloch now. That's true. She did change her Twitter from Bitsy to Elizabeth. So it's no longer Juliet, it's Eve, and it's no longer Bitsy, it's Elizabeth.
Oh.
I don't know.
Great point. That was a good point.
Brain hurts. All right. So last thoughts. We only have a few minutes left.
On the episode or on this?
On our after show.
What? Okay.
Yael, you got like, I'm gonna give you a couple 2 minutes. Like, how about we
go?
Meisner.
No, he's dead, guys.
All right.
He died, and Renard feels guilt.
Yeah.
I said that already.
Deisner.
It's on the schedule.
It's the schedule's beautiful.
I thought this episode was really well shot. There were a lot of really cool and unique angles, and also like everything that was happening. It was a very like hectic episode, which meant that there was a lot of like movement and energy and everything that was in every shot. There's like a lot of freehanding and things of that sort, which I thought was really well done.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Oh, the scenes where the not SWAT, CERT?
Yeah. CERT or something.
When they started coming in, that was intense. Like, it felt like they were invading our space, and it was really well executed.
Yeah.
Very next level police across Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah, where have these guys been? Seriously.
Also, did anybody get the there's just like, oh, we accidentally elected a villain to run this place that we live in. Oh, I don't know what this is like at all. It has no analogies to the real world.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, that doesn't happen in real life. I want to talk real quick about Officer Franco, our one police friend who is on our side.
Yeah, I like that he's been around forever.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he's...
And he's friends with Drew. He's the one who calls Woo Drew. Mm-hmm. He's like, Drew, I can't help you.
Drew Woo.
It's so good. I'm really glad we're getting more of him. A lot of people were tweeting that they're afraid he's going to die. Yep. It's likely.
He's not in a good place. Let's put it that way.
So that's
They've just set him.
Franco.
They just set him up to like. Now we would be emotional if he dies. Before we would be like, oh, that sucks. He was a fun character.
Yeah.
Now we're gonna be like, no. Like he's gotten enough.
He's helping us.
Yeah. So it'll hurt. Now it'll hurt. That's what they've done. Thanks, writers.
And
No,
Rachel Wood.
Yes.
Can we talk about that?
She would. Well, there would be more to talk about, except she's dead. No, but this could be the thing that helps them unravel Renard.
Sorry, Mr. Goku says you're right. This is like President Luther.
Nice.
It's good.
Well done.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, I'm really excited. First of all, that we got to see our friend Anne again. So yeah, at least for a minute. But
She got a day on set.
yeah. She got to be in this episode. But I really like that the only prints they found are all Renard's. And I went, that's good.
Yeah.
Well, they didn't say the only, but they said his prints are everywhere.
Right. I mean, aside from her prints, we know who killed her. It's not like we don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I really like that.
His prints and DNA are all over the place.
I mean, look. Like,
Yeah,
in
his DNA is everywhere.
seriously.
All up in that
In
sheet.
any investigation, like the first people that you talk to are the loved ones or the people that they have been sleeping with. She has Renard's in the worst possible place, and the evidence is all very much against him. But he's now the mayor and the police captain. It'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
When they're like, how do we prosecute this guy who's sort of in charge?
I think it's great. I think it's a great twist.
I think it will make this very interesting because you're gonna have a way for Hank and Wu to fight back, even when they can't literally fight back.
Yeah.
Because the police have basically been militarized by Renard in this manhunt for Nick.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts? as we wrap out, guys?
Predictions?
Yeah, well, I was going to say before we get to predictions. Let's do predictions really quick before we wrap
AfterBuzz
out.
TV predictions.
Yes.
Did you see the promo?
Yes, I did. And I
y'all
immediately
see the
was like,
promo?
who? Look, I love Yael. Stop feeding her dreams. Or just, her dreams are fine. But
Thank you, Grimm writers. Thank you to
literally,
Jeff
like,
and
this
to
is
Brenna
out of something
and
that
to
I feel
everyone.
like Yael has said on the show as, like, a joke about a fantasy. For anyone who didn't see the promo, it looks like Nick is going to use the magic witch bong to turn into Renard
And then
fight Renard.
shirtless. Somehow.
Yes. The shirts are gonna fly off.
But they're gonna do that stupid hockey move.
It's times like this where I feel like our show has influenced the actual show.
No, not at all.
Like, the more Yael, like, exclaims about shirtless Renard, the more he is shirtless on this show.
They have chosen to use that clip of him shirtless punching the mirror in the opening sequence for the last, I don't know, however many seasons since it happened. They went, we're just gonna put that in there and let it be. Everyone else, like, it moves. It's been like newer stuff, not his.
Oh, man. Oh, boy.
It's the best Renard.
Everyone in the chat is really loving it. So Cooper says Renard shirtless fight.
Yeah. So that's going to do it for the after show, guys. Sorry, we've run out of time.
Wait, Tauri has a prediction.
Prediction.
I predict, like you said, that they listen to our after show, that it's going to be more Dragon Ball Z inspired. We saw the Dragon Balls, guys. We saw the Dragon Balls.
Those symbols.
So Renard is going to have his Majin Vegeta moment, and he's going to sacrifice himself for the greater good, and it's going to be amazing.
It's a great prediction.
Also, the Vessan origins is that they're aliens from the planet Namek.
Okay.
Yep.
I predict that we will get answers to at least one of my major mythology questions. I just don't know which one yet. Time will tell. But that's why I think the symbols are going to lead us to. I believe we will understand more about the origins by the end of the season, but I will not be satisfied because I'll have more questions. In a good way, I won't be satisfied.
Namek.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for the first after show of the 6th season. Well, it's the first one of 2017 too, but like more importantly, the first episode of season 6, the final season of Grimm. Thank you so much for joining us for the first episode. I've been your host, Zach Wilson. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at @ThatZachWilson. Also check out my movie review show, Sci-Fi Weekly, which is on the Popcorn Talk, and I have a comic book that's now available on Comixology. It's called Kid Cop. It's incredibly violent and hopefully incredibly funny. Check it out. Just search for Kid Cop issue 1 on Comixology.
I'm Yael Tygiel. You can find me everywhere at Yael Tygiel. That's YAELTYGIEL. I have a podcast. It's called Intimate Interrogations. I will hopefully have new episodes soon. Also, stick around for the Librarians After Show late tonight, and other things at Yael Tygiel, YAELTYGIEL. Sorry.
Hey, I'm Tauri J. Miller. You can find me at Tauri J, TAURIJAY. I'm also working on a series for DreamWorks TV that will be coming out sometime soon. I'm doing some sweet voice work.
Yes.
I'll let you know when it comes out. Thank you.
All right, guys, this has been the Grimm After Show. Thanks for geeking out with us.
Thanks for geeking out with us.
Yeah.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.